Christine. Well, thanks very much.
Go ahead.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce Christine Allum, who is a senior advisor, investment engagement and stakeholder partnerships with the Ontario Securities Commission. And in this position, she partners with various groups and organizations to deliver investor education and fraud prevention workshops, which is why she's with us today. Her financial expertise includes adult training, curriculum resource development, relationship management, and community outreach. She's a graduate of what was Ryerson University. We don't know what it's called today. Today, she's going to talk about recognizing the warning signals, signs of fraud, tips to protect yourself from fraud, and available resources and tools. So welcome, Christine.
You are. And hello, everyone.
Christine, you're muted.
Christine, please unmute yourself.
Got it.
Okay, sorry about that. Carry on.
No, I was just looking for my controls here.
Okay, good.
So we're good. So today I'm going to give you some information about some of the common scams that are happening right now. What are some of those warning signs? I'll also share some information about working with an advisor. What are some of those questions to think about if you're working with a financial representative? And then resources. So I'll aim to talk for about 40 minutes so I can give you some time to ask me questions, okay? So for those of you that are not familiar with the Ontario Securities Commission, we're a government agency. We regulate the capital markets in Ontario. As a regulator, a key part of our mandate is to provide protection to investors. One of the best ways to provide protection is to ensure that you have good information. And that's really why I'm here. What I do at the OSC is community outreach. So I work for the investor office, team of people. We have an education team, we have an outreach team, we have a policy team, and we also have a research team. What's nice about working for the investor office is we like to say that we are the voice of investors. I come out, I share information with you, but I also get information back from you in the form of your questions, your comments, and sometimes some of that information I can share with my colleagues in the various teams that I work with. A key part of our mandate is to provide protection to investors. So we set rules and policies, and we also enforce those rules and policies within the industry. We know that investment fraud is devastating. When you suffer a financial loss, not only does it impact you financially, it can impact your quality of life, can impact your health, can impact relationships with family and friends. What are some of those tools that we have under our belt at the OSC to deter those people from doing harm? Well, we have a whistleblower program. So if someone knows that someone in the industry is not quite following the rules, they can certainly contact us and let us know. We can also impose sanctions. So we can impose monetary penalties. If someone has breached the Securities Act, for each breach of the Act, we can impose a fine as to $1 million per breach. The other thing is we also have a special team that we work with, and we call this our Joint Serious Offenses Team. And this is a team of people, or team of staff that are composed of not only OSC staff, but we also have people from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and Ontario Provincial Police that form this Joint Serious Offenses Team. And they can then investigate those cases that we want to try under the criminal code. So we have different types of tools under our belt to deter people from harming investors. We also do a lot of research because we want to understand what are some of the challenges that people face with respect to making good financial decisions. So a couple pieces of research that I just want to highlight. You know, we've been living in the world of COVID-19 for almost a year and a half, and hopefully it's almost over. But during this period, we know that many investors were concerned about their investments because they've seen the market be a little more volatile. We also found that many investors aren't able to handle an unexpected expense of over $5,000. And that tells us that people don't have an emergency fund set aside just in the event that something happens and they need extra access to cash. So these are all things that, help us determine, what resources we should be developing, what tools we might want to talk about, and really what some of the concerns are that people are facing. And certainly one of the biggest things that people are concerned about is fraud. So what do we know about fraud? 1 in 25 Canadians have reported being a victim of investment fraud. That's over 1 million Canadians in Canada that have been defrauded. And that's only in investment fraud. Who are those victims? 1 in 2 of them are 55 and older. Now, 1 in 5 of us will be given the opportunity to participate in something that's fraudulent. But only 1 in 3 of us will ever report it. We know fraud is an underreported crime. I've been doing this particular role for several years. And usually after my presentation, people will want to share their stories with me. And sometimes they will tell me how they were the victim of a fraud. And if I ask, did you report it? Many times the answer was no. And when I ask why, I'll get responses like, I don't want family and friends to know. I'm too embarrassed to tell people I got defrauded. I don't want to look stupid. I'm going to tell you right now, anyone can be the victim of a fraud. All fraudsters care about is getting access to your money. We also have seen a large increase in what we're calling COVID-19 related frauds. Because you know what's happening right now? Fraudsters, they know that we're concerned about our health. We're concerned about our family's health. We're concerned about our finances. And they are really taking advantage of that situation by taking some of these common frauds that occur and tweaking it and adjusting it to today's situation. So what do I mean by that? One of the frauds that we know about is the pump and dump. So what's a pump and dump? This is one where normally the fraudsters would buy a bunch of worthless stock, or they have this worthless stock. And what they would do is they would write some very positive articles, news stories about the company, about the stock company, and they would post it online. And then they would, contact people, tell them, buy my stock. If you look at how the company is doing, you can see that it's doing very well. And if you buy it now, it's selling at a low price, you will only make money. So how are the fraudsters tweaking this for COVID-19? Well, they're saying that these worthless stock that they're selling are in companies that are providing a product or service that can help cure or prevent COVID-19. The last one that I read about, the fraudsters were promoting a stock, and they were saying that the company was producing vaccination kits for people. You and I know that, Government of Canada has approved vaccines for COVID-19, and that they are making these vaccines freely available to Canadians. Okay, so that's the pump and dump. Fraudsters hype up these stocks, sell it, and then disappear, and investors are left holding worthless stock. Another type of fraud that we see time and time again, and it's one you may even have heard about, or you might recognize it when you hear about it in the news. It's affinity fraud. And what's affinity fraud? Affinity fraud is one where fraudsters target groups of people that share a common identity or common interest. Common identity, maybe it's the same type of culture, same religion. Common interest, maybe it's a social club. Maybe you like to play sports. Maybe you're part of a golf club. However it works, fraudsters target those particular groups. They target the group, and how they do it is they're a member of the group, they join the group, and they attend all the events, all the meetings, so that they can develop a relationship with other members of the group. Once they feel that they have a trusted relationship with the members, at some point, they will tell you how they have a wonderful deal, how they have a wonderful way that they can help you make money. And because it's someone you trust, likely you might take them up on that offer. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's within your group and one person takes them up on their offer, likely the rest of the membership will follow suit and take them up on their offer. Everybody now gives this fraudster money. Fraudster takes the money, drops out of the group, and disappears. And that's an affinity fraud. And you will have heard about many fraud cases in the news, and many times there's that affinity fraud element to it. Another one that you're very familiar with or may have heard about is the Ponzi scheme. And we've got some famous people that have been in the news that have pulled this off over the past few years. So what's a Ponzi scheme and how does it work? Well, I'm the fraudster. Today, I'll be your fraudster in every scenario. So I'm the fraudster and I say to you, don't put your money in the bank. You know, if you put your money in the bank, you are not making much. It's a low interest rate environment. Give me your money. Let me invest it for you. I can guarantee you high returns, no risk. And of course, I make lots of sense because we know that it's a low interest rate environment. So what do? You give me money. And that's what I do as a Ponzi guy. I go out and I convince people to give me money to invest on their behalf. Am I investing that money? Not really. If I invest just a little bit so that I can maybe get some official statements, paperwork to show these people. But what happens is I go out and I convince people to give me money. Now, the first group that I had taken money from reaches out to me and says, Chris, we're still waiting to see our high returns. I haven't seen anything. And I say, you know what? Your money is doing so well. You're making over 20%. Leave it. Let it grow. Let it work for you. And some people, oh, 20%. Happy, great, leave it, let it work. And others say, you know what, Chris, we really want that 20%. So what do? I go out and I recruit another set of people. And I take their money. And I take some of that money and I give it to that first group that I promised that 20% returns to. And that's how a Ponzi scheme works. I take money from the new people and I share it with those earlier folks. Okay, now what am I doing with their money? I'm using their money to live a good life. Their money pays for my nice homes, pays for my nice vehicles, pays for my wonderful lifestyle, the great vacations I take. Now, I'm a fraudster, and the only way this scheme works is by me recruiting more and more people. So at some point, this group of people that I've recruited and taken money from gets too big, gets too large, gets very unwieldy for me to manage, right? Because I have to remember who's new, who I've paid, who I haven't paid. When it gets too unwieldy, what do? I walk away and I let the group collapse, and then you'll have been the victim of a Ponzi scheme. Now, if you've been the victim of a fraud, there's a very good chance you can become a repeat victim. 3 out of 10 victims are re-victimized. And people have said to me, well, if I've been defrauded once, there is no way I will be tricked and defrauded a second time. And let me tell you, it is very easy. Remember, these are fraudsters. So what are some of the ways that a fraudster can defraud you? Think about that Ponzi scheme. I've taken your money. I cannot come back and taken your money a second time. However, I have something very valuable. That's your names and contact information. So what do I do with that information? I go look for my fellow fraudster. And let's call my fellow fraudster Bob. And I say to Bob, hey, Bob, you got a list? Bob's got a list of people he's already defrauded. So what do Bob and I do? We exchange list. Or maybe I tell Bob to buy my list because it's a very lucrative list. However it works, your names have now been passed over to Bob. So what does Bob do? calls you up. Oh, hello. I'm going to pick on Art since he's the one who introduced me. Hi, Art. I understand that you were defrauded by Chris. There's a whole group of us that Chris has defrauded. And what we're doing is we're banding together to hire a lawyer to try and get as much money back as possible and also take Chris to court. So we're reaching out to everyone that we believe that might have been a victim, that might have been defrauded by Chris, to see if they would like to join our group. Now, Art is thinking to himself, that sounds like a really good plan. Get a lawyer, get some money back, and maybe get Chris taken to court. This is all sounding good. So what do I say? And Art, all we're looking for is contribution toward the legal fees. And Art's like, yeah, I will pay. I'll pay something to get money back. Sounds good. So as soon as Art says yes and he pays that money, guess what? He's now been the victim of a double dip. Now, the examples I'm sharing today are real. These things have happened to individuals, to investors, to victims over the time. In another scenario, this individual had lost tens of thousands in an investment. He was then offered the opportunity to recover his initial investment and more if he would just invest a few more $1,000s. Okay, so these fraudsters will spin any story to try and get you to give them a little more money. All right, so that's a double dip or a repeat scam. There are also other types of frauds out there. There's Forex, foreign exchange currency trading, which is legal, but fraudsters are out there promoting this and saying that you can also do this. Offshore investing, tell you put your money outside of the country. You put your money outside of the country. Now it's no longer under our jurisdiction. It's no longer under Canadian jurisdiction. You're not sure what you're getting into. Exempt securities, you need to meet a certain financial threshold in order to participate in the exempt securities market. And fraudsters are telling people they can make exceptions for them and get them to participate. There's another one, brand new, where the fraudsters are promoting certain financial products and using a well-known company to promote these products. But you know what? That company is not offering these products. Okay, so these fraudsters are just using that company's name. And then another one, and it's again another new one, where they're saying it's an accredited company that can do certain things, and there is no such accreditation. Okay, so these are things that we are seeing that are happening right now. Lots of different types of investment scams. So how would you know an opportunity is not such a good opportunity? What are some of those warning signs? Well, the first one we're well aware of are these high pressure sales tactics. Have I got a deal for you? But I need your answer right away. Somebody's pressuring you to act on an opportunity, walk away. There is no deal that is so good that you need to act right on the spot. I'm a fraudster. I don't want you to take that time to think about the opportunity, to think about the deal, to do any research. Another one are phone calls and emails and text messages from people you don't know. Somebody that you don't know approaches you about some unsolicited opportunity. Again, be very careful. Hang up, delete those messages, delete those emails. If you are interested in a particular opportunity, you would go look for that opportunity. You would do your research. You would talk to family and friends about it. Someone calling you out of the blue, you have to question that. I don't know that person. They don't know me. Why are they contacting me about this opportunity? How do they benefit? What's in it for them? Another warning sign are these free incentives. We all love getting free stuff, but be careful, because if somebody is offering you a wonderful weekend away in some glamorous resort, likely they want something in return. And then there are these promises of higher guaranteed returns with little to no risk. Remember, if you are investing, the higher risk the investment, the likelihood you could make higher returns. But remember, it's higher risk, so the likelihood you could also lose everything. So high guaranteed returns with little to no risk, those words don't go together, okay? Higher guaranteed returns, possibly higher guaranteed returns, higher risk. All right. Another one, encourage to recruit family and friends. If I offer you a wonderful deal, and then the next words out of my mouth, do you have family and friends that might be interested in this opportunity? Be very careful because you're not sure what you're going to get your family and friends involved in. Also, you want to be sure that you're dealing with someone that's registered. You don't want to deal with unregistered businesses or individuals. Anyone providing you with investment advice, selling you investments, making investment recommendations must be registered with the Securities Commission. So if you're dealing with anyone related to investment, you want to make sure that that person, that business is registered with the Securities Commission. Another red flag or warning sign is suggest falsifying financial information. And somebody said to me, well, I would never do that. And let me give you an example. And these, remember, these are all true examples. You know, think back to an affinity fraud. So someone's in your group and says to you, you know, I've got a wonderful opportunity and we're making an exception for people in this group because, you know, you're all my friends. So what it is they're saying that they'll make an exception because it's an accredited, for exempt securities. So you need to meet a certain financial threshold. But because you're a member of this group, they're letting you participate. You don't need to meet the financial threshold. And as you're filling out the paperwork, they tell you, you know, fudge the numbers because really you're not meeting that threshold. Right away, that's a big red flag because this person is suggesting you falsify financial information. Okay, someone is giving you bad advice. Someone giving you bad advice, likely not someone you should be dealing or doing business with. Another warning sign is tax avoidance. You know, we don't like to pay taxes. However, you know, someone saying to you, we can help you avoid paying taxes, be very careful because there are plans out there, there are programs out there that can help us be more tax efficient, that can help us minimize the amount of taxes we pay. There are no plans out there that can help us avoid paying taxes. And really, we don't want to end up on, you know, some list where the CRA is going to, you know, have us on there for a very long time. And the very last warning sign is acting on inside information or hot scoop. Someone says to you, I've got a hot tip. My sharing that information with you, illegal. You're acting on that information, also illegal. So what do we want you to do? We want you to protect yourself. Keep your personal and financial information safe. Don't respond to these unsolicited emails, text, phone calls. Don't take, you know, these unsolicited opportunities that people are offering you. And you know what? There's another type of fraud where people are also contacting people and telling them that, you know, they need to send money. There's an emergency scam, grandparent scam, romance scam, where they're trying to get people to send money. So, you know, people contacting you, asking for personal financial information, ignore them. People asking you to send money, ignore them. Take the time to verify any opportunity, any deal that you are interested in. You know, if it's something you're interested in, maybe you want to get a qualified opinion, you know, contact an advisor, contact a lawyer, you know, ask an accountant, get someone to research and get a second opinion. Be very wary of promises of high returns with little to no risk, okay? Investment does not work that way where, you know, you get high returns with no risk. You can potentially make high returns, but remember that investment is likely riskier, okay? And lastly, make sure you do a background check. Check registration of that individual that you're working with. And how would you do that? Two ways that you can check registration of an individual. Go online, check beforeyouinvest.ca, takes you to a national database. So everyone that's registered with Securities Commissions right across Canada, you can go in and access that database, or you can contact the OSC. We have a toll-free number, 1-877-785-1555. We will be happy to check registration of an individual for you. When you check registration, what are you checking? You're checking their registration category, because people can have different categories. They can be registered to provide different services and different products. So if you're working with someone, you want to know what it is that they're registered to provide you. The other thing is, when you check registration, you're also going to be able to get information on any disciplinary history if available. Remember, we're a regulator. So if we took disciplinary action, that information goes in that individual's file. So when you check registration, you also get disciplinary history if available, okay? So it's in your best interest to check registration. Now, what do you do if you suspect fraud? Report it. By reporting it, you may prevent someone else from becoming the victim of a fraud. Who can you report it to? You have options. You can report it to your Ontario Securities Commission. You can report it to your local police. You can also report it to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. That is another government agency, and they also keep track of the various types of frauds that happen in Canada. Now at the OSC, we investigate breaches of the Securities Act. If you contact us and you report a fraud, that is not something we investigate. We can refer that matter on to the appropriate law enforcement authority. Perhaps we need to refer it to another government agency. Similarly, you contact the local police. It's something they investigate, great. Not something they investigate, they can report it on to the appropriate agency, and the same with the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. So what's important is that you report it, and you can report it to us, local police, or Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. Okay, so this now concludes the fraud section of the presentation. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about working with your financial representative and what some of those things that you should be thinking about when you're working with this individual. So if you work with a financial representative, they sat down, got to know you, your goals, your financial situation, time horizon, risk tolerance, and then they made investment recommendations for you. When they made those recommendations, they should be able to explain those recommendations to you. And that's where registration is really important, because you want to know that person has the background knowledge. If they're going to make recommendations, tell you what products to invest in, you want to know that they can explain those products, how they work, the risk, the fees, and how it can help you meet your goals. Also, financial representatives must tell you how they're paid. And we're Canadians, we are very polite. We're also very private about our finances. And many times people don't ask, how are you paid for your services? I did this presentation a few years ago, and I was talking about, asking how your financial representatives are being paid. And I still remember the individual, she put up her hand and said, I work with someone for 7 years. I have never had to pay that person a dime. This is this person's career. Somewhere along the way, they are being paid. And now, advisors, financial representatives can be paid in different ways. They can be paid a salary. They can be paid a commission. They can be paid a fee, or it could be a combination of those ways. You may pay them directly. You may pay them indirectly. This person is working for you. It's in your best interest to find out how they're being paid. Care about your investments. Ask questions before you invest. You're working with someone, they're making recommendations. Ask, how will this help me meet my goals? What if I need my money back? There are many different types of investment products available today. And some of them are structured in such a way that maybe you have to hold them for a particular period of time before you can sell it. So ask questions before you invest. Understand your risk tolerance. What's your financial ability to take on higher risk investments? And also internally, how do you process risk? Are you a type who can sleep at night if you invest in something that's highly volatile? Meaning, what if you buy something that goes up and down in price like a yo-yo? Are you going to be able to sleep at night? You are investing for your financial future, your financial well-being. And I always say, if you're investing in something and you can't take on that risk, then that investment is not for you. When you invest, you get confirmation slips, You get statements, you get annual reports on your investments performance, charges related to services. These are all important documents. Review them right away. Review them. If there's a problem, contact your financial representative and get that problem resolved. You know, if you take these slips, you put them aside and say, oh, I'll check them when I have time. You know, you might have forgotten what you agreed to do, and then it just takes that much longer to get that problem resolved. One of the things that's relatively new, and it's been out for maybe 3-4 years now, are these annual reports on how your investments have performed and the charges related to service. And somebody said to me, well, I get these things, but I don't know what to do with them. So you get these annual reports, take them, arrange to have a meeting with your financial representative. Go through these reports. How have your investments performed? Are they on track? Do they need to make any changes? How have they performed compared to an appropriate benchmark? Also, you get the one related to fees and charges related to service. You don't know where those fees and charges come from. Now's your time to ask your advisor. You know, these are things to help you. So these are good documents to have for when you meet with your advisor, whether you're able to do that in person or virtually. And really maintain regular communication with your advisor. Let them know what's happening in your life. You know, we all get busy. Hopefully you're communicating with them at least once a year so that they can ensure your portfolio is on track to help you meet your needs. Another thing that's happening is, you know, we're recommending that people add a trusted contact person in their Know Your Client form. You know, one of the things that we understand and we know is that, you know, our population is getting older. And as we age, we may be faced with different challenges, mental challenges, physical challenges. And, you know, one of the other concerns is financial exploitation. So this trusted contact person could be someone that, you know, if your advisor suggests or suspects that maybe there's an issue of financial exploitation, there is someone that they can contact on your behalf to just find out what's going on. This person has no authority over your account. It's just someone the advisor can go to just get some information. Okay, so these are some of the things to think about. How do you know that person's doing a good job for you? Look at how have your investments performed. You know, I say compare it to appropriate benchmark. What do I mean by that? If you invest in stocks, how have your stocks performed compared to a stock index? You invest in bonds. How have they compared to a bond index? Are they following the same trajectory? Okay, make sure you review those annual statements. You know, and is your financial advisor, are they providing you with advice? Are they explaining things to you? Are they available? You know, I had someone say to me, I have a very nice advisor. They always explain things to me. The problem is when they explain things, I don't understand anything. That's a challenge, and you need to communicate this, okay? Because this person is explaining things to you, but if they're explaining it and you don't understand, then there's a problem, okay? And then you decide if you're happy with that relationship. But how do you know, maybe that relationship isn't so good? Maybe there's a problem. No, maybe you never hear from this person. Maybe they're making investment recommendations don't seem to match your goals. Maybe when you're checking your statement, you're seeing unauthorized trades. You don't remember agreeing to some of those things. These may all be signs that there's a problem. So what do? Like anything, if there's a problem, you want to talk to that person and their manager. Maybe you have a discussion. After that discussion, problem is resolved. What if that's not helping? Put your complaint in writing. You put your complaint in writing. Firms have to investigate and get back to you. They investigate and get back to you. After they do that, you're satisfied, great. You're still not satisfied. What do? You have a couple options. You can contact the Ombudsman for Banking Services and Investments. This is a third-party organization that will provide a free and independent review of your case. Or maybe you think, gosh, maybe I need some legal advice. You can contact the Investor Protection Clinic. There are 2 investor protection clinics in Ontario right now. There's one that's run out of Osgoode Hall Law School, and there's also one that's run out of U of T. Okay, all else fails, you can contact the OSC, will help you navigate this process. Now, where else can you go get more information? Everything I've talked about and much more is available on our website, getsmarteraboutmoney.ca. That's a consumer site. That's where we put information to help you make more informed decisions. Okay. I talked about our research, how Canadians are not, a third of Canadians are not prepared for an emergency. We have tools on our website. One of them is an emergency fund calculator to help you figure out, how much you might need to save to set aside in the event of an emergency. Another thing we've noticed is during this pandemic, many people were looking at the wills and estate planning section of our website. So another tool that we had developed was a personal information inventory form. This is a form where you would download it and you would list, what are all those important documents that you have? Where are they located? Who are all those professionals you deal with? Who are the medical professionals, financial professionals, legal professionals? Also, what else would you put on here? What about all your social media accounts? What accounts do you have? What are those passwords? I think about the fact that I have a phone. My phone's password protected. If someone needed to access my contact list on my behalf, would they have my password? Could they get my contact list? So this is the type of information you would put on the personal information inventory form. So we say download it, fill it out, put it in a safe spot, and then share that information with someone you trust. You know what? Everything that you need to know and accessed on my behalf, documented in this spot, and then forget about it. Okay? Another thing we're seeing is that many people are interested in digital currency, digital coins, and we call those crypto assets. So I've gotten a lot of questions about them, how they work, where can you learn more about it? We have a whole section on their website on crypto assets. These are not legal tender, meaning they're not backed by a Canadian bank. They're highly volatile. At one point, I think Bitcoins was going at about 60,000. I know it's dropped in price. I can't tell you what it's right now, but certainly it's highly volatile. And, regulation around these crypto assets are evolving. If you want to buy these kinds of products, you need to usually buy it on a trading platform. And many of these trading platforms are not regulated. So just be aware before you invest in these types of products. Another resource for you, this page is available on getsmarteraboutmoney.ca, is investingquestions.ca. People will sometimes write us, email us, they have a question, and we will respond. And we think if someone's asking that question, likely someone else may be interested in that question and the answer to that question. So we post those questions and answers on this particular page on our website. Lots of resources, calculators, videos, worksheets, many different resources to help you plan your finances. So how would you stay connected? How would you keep in touch? How would you know what's up to date? Subscribe to our e-newsletter. We have an e-newsletter called Investor News. You can go online on our website and subscribe for Investor News. Or you can follow us on Twitter. We also have a Facebook page, and we have a YouTube channel with video clips. Some of our video clips explain, some of the new frauds that are happening right now. So different ways that you can stay in touch and get information from us. What's important is you have a question, attended this presentation, Chris shared all this information, need to know how to do something, you can always call us. We have a contact center. Someone will be able to help you. You can also visit our website, getsmarteraboutmoney.ca. That's the website where you can get information to help you make financial decisions. OSC.ca is a corporate site. Some of you may be interested in learning more about the different type of enforcement actions, proceedings that are taking place, or you want to learn more about the different functions within the OSC, and that's where you would get that information on osc.ca. So that said, I know I've spoken a lot. I'm going to stop talking now and then give you the opportunity to ask me questions, and I will try and answer as best as I can.
Questions for Christine, anyone? Unmute yourself and ask away.
I noticed you didn't talk at all about multi-level marketing, which is kind of close to pyramid
Yes.
selling. It's legal, but it's risky.
So, you know, multi-level marketing is certainly a different type of business model, right? Where you could recruit people to sell your product or service, and by recruiting these people, you earn a commission. One of the more successful multi-level marketing businesses that are around there, that is out and is very well known, is the Avon Lady. You might recall these women used to go out in homes and they would sell cosmetics and whatever, and they had teams, and they would make money by selling products and also through commissions by recruiting people to promote these products. So that's very legal. What the fraudsters do, and we call this pyramid schemes, they try and promote a product or service saying they're following that business model. But really, they're not promoting, or they're not really selling a product or service. Their whole scheme is for you to go out and try and recruit people to join and make money by getting people to join. So how that works is the people who have started the scheme are the ones that make money, and the ones that come after, they don't really make any money. And that's really the difference, you know, where people have a real product or service that they are promoting and that they are marketing and selling, they're making money. The other one, pyramid scheme, they're saying that they're selling and they're saying that they're promoting something, but they're not really. Their whole intent is to just recruit people and get them to participate and get money out of them. Thank you for asking that question, though.
I've muted everybody, so you'll have to unmute yourself. Chris is still unmuted. I think you can speak, Chris.
Sure.
Unmute. I don't know where that noise is coming from.
Yeah, the noise is coming from Wayne. Wayne should mute himself.
Wait, wow, I muted him. Jeez.
No, muting is not for me. It's on my computer when I push to get a whole lot of pictures so I can pick one out.
Don't get a whole lot of pictures.
Okay. Well, I can mute again.
You don't get anything.
So what I'm going to say is what I will do at the end of the day is I will send Russ an email with links to all the information shared, the different resources, and he can share that with you. So if ever you need to go back and get a refresher on anything that I might have shared, you will have that information. All right? So Dave, you have a question?
Yes, I do. You were mentioning about schemes regarding vacations. Can you elaborate a little on that?
Regarding vacations. So what I mentioned was that one of the warning signs that something might not be a good opportunity is when people offer you free incentives like vacations. Because usually somebody says to you, I've got some, you know what, I had someone offer me a week, not even a weekend, a week away at a wonderful resort. My taking them up on that offer, likely I then agree to certain conditions. If I take them up on this wonderful offer, likely then I am subjecting myself to maybe attending a particular seminar where I might be pressured to participate in something. So that's what I was referring to. You know, just be careful, because we all love free stuff. But if somebody's offering you for free, likely they want to get something from you in return.
What's happened to us is we received a continuous calling from a company in the States, and I think it was in Pennsylvania area, and they're offering X number of trips for, you know, so many dollars, like $3.99 or $5.99, which sounds rather ridiculous. And, you know, and you've got a time limit of 2 years to do it. And I really think it's a fraudulent type deal, but, you know, they don't like to quit. That's for sure.
You know what? Fraudsters are very persistent. If they would use that, all the energy they direct into these frauds and channel it into something that was legal, it would be great. However, they don't. And you know what? Yours is not the first time that I've heard of that. They use any angle to try and get people to participate. So good for you to just continue to ignore them. At some point,
Yeah,
they stop calling you. It just takes, you know, a while.
that's exactly what I did. Thank you.
Okay. Not hearing anything further. Duncan, can I get you to thank Christine on behalf of the club?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Chris. That was an interesting presentation. A couple of things that you mentioned that I found interesting statistically is 1 in 3 do not report the fraud. That's revealing. Also, 3 in 10 are fraudulent repeaters, and you explained that. And the part about the Affinity Fraud also caught my attention and interest. I know PROBUS are looking for new members, and perhaps we have to be careful about somebody infiltrating the membership for PROBUS. I don't think that's an issue as far as global is concerned, Peter, in terms of any reported fraudulence. But then again, you know, 1 in 3 don't report. But thank you again. Normally we offer a gift to the guest speaker, and in this case we're not, because you requested us not to. And I guess that brings me back to my last point, how you get paid. You said not to give you a gift certificate because you get paid to do this job, and we will honor that. But thank you very much, and we'll look forward to hearing you again sometime.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Pleasure speaking with you. As mentioned, I will send Russ an email that quickly summarizes what I covered. And thanks again, and have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thanks.
If you